welcome to Storytime, where the shadows come alive and every story has a secret waiting to be uncovered. Sit back, get comfortable, and let your imagination wander as we dive into original stories from your host. The lights are low, and the story's about to begin.
Around the campfire ring, they tell it soft and low, about the man in black and the woman in the snow. I listen for the knock in the rafters overhead, then I sign my little death with a glowing thread. Beauty in ash, beauty in ash.
This is the tale of 11 Roses. Our story centers on Emma. Emma was a beautiful woman. Her eyes sparkled like a night sky full of a million stars. Her smile warmed your chest on even the coldest nights. Absolutely stunning. But Emma was far more than just another beautiful face. Emma would often go out of her way to make sure that she made other people smile. She was kind, warm, caring. Emma was everything that true beauty should be. Emma worked in a local shop, interacted with everybody on a daily basis. One of Emma's favorite customers' name was Edward. Edward wasn't going to catch anyone's attention. He was an average, hard-working man, but he was kind. Edward would stop in and see Emma as much as he could, find reasons just to see her smile, because it made him feel good. Edward set it in his mind, after months and months, that one day he would make Emma the happiest woman on earth. So he worked hard, and he built a nice home. And he would bring her gifts, deliver flowers, things that would catch Emma's attention, something that she would notice. As time passed, and months grew to years, Edward began to think that maybe he wasn't catching her attention. Maybe he wasn't what she was looking for. And as the time passed, Edward realized that he was happy just knowing that Emma was out there. Knowing that Emma would be there in the shop day after day. And he could go in there, and just seeing her smile made his day better. And hearing her voice. So he continued to work hard, continued to work on the finer details of the home. Now, Emma didn't ignore Edward. She didn't not acknowledge that he was there. And in a way, she looked forward to seeing him every day. When he'd come in for his small items that he decided he needed to get that day. Or the flowers that he would claim he saw on the roadside. And just thought that she had to have them. Day after day, Edward would come into the shop. Day after day, Emma would greet him with a smile. That beautiful, captivating smile. Until one day, there was no Edward. Emma thought it was strange, but she waited for the next day. And again, No Edward. Days started to blend together. Emma's business got very busy. And every day, she waited, watching the door, hoping he would walk in. But he never did. And then one day, maybe over a little over a week later, Emma woke up, got ready to go into the shop, and as she opened her front door, there on her doorstep lay a singular black rose. She looked up and down the street. There was nobody there. She thought maybe it fell off of a vendor cart. Maybe the florist was getting a delivery and it fell off of the truck and it just so happened to land on her doorstep. But she picked it up anyways and she took it into the house and she placed it into a vase full of water. And then she went about her day. The next morning, same thing. She got up, got ready to go into the shop, opened the door, and there sat another black rose. And so on for 11 days. Now, throughout those 11 days, she did try to see who was leaving the roses. She stayed up late one night, went to bed early, and woke up early the next morning. She tried to just catch the time frame that the rose was being delivered, but she never could. After 11 days, the roses stopped. She'd wake up in the morning, run to the front door and tear it open. No rose. They just stopped. She couldn't figure it out. Who left her roses for 11 days? Then it crossed her mind. She'd been preoccupied by everything so much that she'd completely forgotten that she hadn't seen Edward. She thought maybe it was him. So she went to Edward's house. Knocked on the door and knocked on the door and knocked on the door. Nobody answered. The house was dark and it was quiet. So she went back to the shop. Went through her day like any other. And then went home. Now, on this night, she sat and she thought of all the times that Edward had brought her flowers, never once was there a black rose. So maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was somebody else. Somebody else whose attention was captivated like so many others, simply by her presence. As she sat there, she began to think about Edward. She began to worry about Edward. Where could he have gone, and why would he have left without saying anything to her? And it made her sad. She had to think about it, that from that day forward, Edward may never walk into her shop again. And she would never see him. Made her think of all the times that she could have taken the opportunity to let him know how she felt. But she didn't. She just assumed he would always be there. So days turned into weeks, weeks to months, and months to years. And even though many, many years had passed, she had never forgotten about Edward. She found herself thinking about him daily, wondering what he was doing, where he was. Was he happy? Did he find someone that would make him happy? Emma didn't know. Then one night in November, Emma found herself at home, alone, just thinking about the past memories. Every so often, Edward would tiptoe through her mind. And it was cold. The wind was howling. Snow was blowing. She just felt cold. She got up and she went into the kitchen and she made herself a cup of tea. And when she came back out to where she was sitting in her chair, she noticed something on the table next to the chair. It was a small trinket, a key. She had had the key for many, many years, and she remembered that Edward had given her that key and told her that it unlocked limitless possibilities in life. And she never knew what that meant. Was it symbolic? Was it just something that Edward did to try to have a reason to come and talk to her that day? Who knows? But as she sat, she thought. She held the key in her hand. And even though the whole house felt cold, that key felt warm. Like somebody had been holding onto it or carrying it in their pocket and had just put it there. It felt warm. And then Emma remembered a conversation she had once with Edward. You see, when he was building his house, he would often ask her what she thought about things. Would she like a house with a library? Would she want a house with a view? Did she want to live in the country? Did she want to live by water? And she remembered one day, Edward had asked her, would you like to live in a house with a library? And later on that day, she saw him bringing out boxes of books from one of the local thrift stores. As she held that key, she wondered if maybe there was more to it than what she had originally felt. So she put her shoes on, drove out to Edward's house again, hoping that he would be home so she could ask him. And as she drove, she thought about more and more instances of times where he would ask her for her opinion, and then she would see him later on that day, seemingly trying to appease what she thought she might like. When she got to Edward's house, again it was dark, it was cold, and it was quiet. She knocked on the door several times. Nothing. The wind was still howling, the snow was still blowing, and it was still very cold. So Emma tried to knock one more time, and as she knocked, she realized she still had the key in her hand. Her cold fingers dropped the key onto the porch. And she quickly plunged her hand into the snow and grabbed the key back out. And if you asked her today, she still wouldn't be able to tell you why she did it. But she put that key in the front door and turned it. And it unlocked the house. So she went into the house, called out his name, turned on a couple lights. She began to realize that the house itself was fairly empty. Minimal furniture, nothing hanging on the walls. She sat on the couch. And as she sat in the cold, dark house, she felt this warmth. And started off on the outside of her shoulders, spread to her back. And then it grew to the side of her face and her chest. And it felt so calming, so warm, like a hug. Emma sat there for quite some time. Just sat in that feeling of a warm hug on a cold day. Eventually, Emma went back home. She slept a little, but tossed and turned all night. She was cold again when she got home. The next morning, she got up like any other, got dressed, got ready to go to the shop, and start another day. Only today, when she opened the door, there was a newspaper rolled up on the front porch. Now, she didn't typically get the newspaper, so this was strange for her. She picked it up, took off the band, and unrolled it. There was a black rose wrapped in the newspaper. The paper was dated for November 11th. That was still a couple days away. There wasn't a year stamped on the newspaper, just November 11th. She opened the paper, found that most of it was actually missing. And then she found the obituaries. And it was a newspaper with a notice of death for Edward. Edward had passed years ago. There wasn't a whole lot of information on what happened or how it happened. But it happened, and whoever wrote the article made a point to put in there that he had passed alone. No surviving children, no known family. Emma dropped to her knees. She was devastated. And while she sat there, trying to collect herself, knowing she would have to shortly be at work and go through her day, she felt that warmth again, like a hug. And she swore it was his. And that's where this tale ends. Now, not every story is going to have a profound meaning or a lesson. But in this case, I think we can all appreciate that the fact is, tomorrow is never a guarantee. There may not be a next time. And the only certainty we have in life is that one day it will end. So why not leave it all out on the field? Take your shot. Don't let it pass you by. And that's our story for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back for the next one. Have a good night, everyone. Tonight's episode, just like every other, is brought to you by Chaos and Ashes Creations. Founded in 2025, pyrography artists united with a shared vision to push the boundaries of wood burning and redefine what the medium can become. Combining creativity, precision, and unwavering dedication to their craft, they transform natural wood into breathtaking, one-of-a-kind works of art. Each piece is meticulously handcrafted, showcasing intricate detail, rich textures, and artistic expression that elevate pyrography beyond traditional wood burning. Whether inspired by nature, fantasy, gothic themes, wildlife, or your own custom commissions, every creation reflects the passion and craftsmanship that have become the hallmark of Chaos and Ashes Creations. More than decor, their artwork is designed to spark conversation, evoke emotion, and become a lasting centerpiece in any home, office, or collection. With every burn, Chaos and Ashes Creations continues to raise the standard of pyrography, proving that fire and imagination can create truly extraordinary pieces of art.